Welcome. In today's crash course, we are going to dive into one of the most important and widely used concepts in JavaScript: objects, their properties and methods. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of what objects are, how to work with them, and how to use their properties and methods effectively. Whether you're new to JavaScript or just need a refresher, this video is perfect for you. Let's start by understanding what an object is. In JavaScript, an object is a collection of related data and functionality. Think of an object as a real-world entity. For example, imagine a car. A car has features or properties like color, make, model, and year. Here is an example of an object in JavaScript. Let me first create a folder for my lesson so that I can show it to you within the codes. So I'll create in two files, and one will be for JavaScript and the other for HTML. So I'll go on with index.html and I'll have in some boilerplate of HTML. Then I'll also create another file, index.js. So I'll need to link my HTML to my JavaScript by using the script tag. So using the script tag, you give it a source whereby you need now to provide the path to your JavaScript. So you can actually have also something else within your body like JavaScript objects so that you don't have a white space within your browser. So I'll open my browser using Go Live, and you can see it is open now. I would inspect so that I get my browser console whereby I'll be seeing all my JavaScript codes. If I come to my JavaScript and just write in console.log, we are learning objects. So we should expect this printed within our console. As you can see, therefore this confirms that our JavaScript is connected to our HTML. So now let us move on with this example of an object. In this example, we have an object called car, which has properties such as make, model, year, and color. So now this is a basic example of an object. So let us now look at properties in JavaScript objects. A property in an object is basically key value pair. The key is the property name and the value is the data associated to that property. In this car example, property like make, Toyota, and color blue are key pair values. Here make is the key and Toyota is the value. You can access the properties of an object in two ways: by using either the dot notation or the bracket notation. The dot notation, this is the most common used way. The bracket notation, this is also useful when the property name is dynamic or contains special characters. Here is how you can access the properties using both notations. By using the dot notation, we can access the property by, let us use console to make sure that we have this shown in our browser console. So you can get the property of the car, like let's say make, by doing a car and a dot. This is why it is called the dot notation. If you look at in our browser, we can see now we have the value as Toyota. If now we want to use the bracket notation, it is the same thing, but this time around we won't be using a dot but the bracket. So I'll just go ahead with the console.log and then put there my brackets, then write the car object. Then instead of using a dot, I'll just use the bracket. Then inside the bracket, I should specify the property within the strings. So my property, I need the make property. So you can obviously see it will be the same thing. It is going to print also Toyota. We can also do the same thing like for year. You can see you can access the year and so on. You can also do for color and also for the model. Another very important property is the modification property. So in JavaScript objects, we can always modify the properties and their values. Let me give you an example. If we want to modify the year of the car, we can always do car and then the year, and we equate it to another year, let's say 2024. Now if we try to access the car object again, we can see that it has already changed its year. As you can see, now the year becomes 2024. So this is how we can modify now our objects. You can as well add another property that wasn't even there by leveraging the modification property. So let's add a property that wasn't there, like the car owner. So we can say car. Maybe let me just put it above this so that we can also see it console. We can say car and maybe say owner, and we can put there my names like John January. If we come back to our browser, we can see now the object has the car property. You can see it is now obvious. Now let's move on to methods. A method is a function that's stored as a property inside an object. We can put in the start engine method. If we come to our browser and go back to the object, we can see that we can also put in a property, but this time around it is going to be a method. And now if we put there like start engine, we can have there a function. You remember this is the syntax of function, and now we can give this function maybe a console.log. That's the car, the engine has started. Now we can as well access this method by using a dot notation. So this is how we can access our method. If we come and try to do console.log and now put there car dot, if you put even a dot there, you will actually see all the properties that are within your car object. Then we can do start engine, but this one, remember, this is a function. If you try to console this within your browser, you can see it is going to show you that this is a function. Therefore, it needs to be called so that you get its actual value. So if we call it, we can see now the engine has started. The reason why we are getting this undefined, it is because we are not returning anything from this function. You remember that one. You can also add or modify methods. For example, let's add a new method to the car object that calculates the car's age. So if we come down here and now we try to access the car object, and then we add something that doesn't exist, like calculate age. So we can add there this function. And now what this function is going to do, it is going to be calculating the age of the car. So let current here be equal to new date, and this is an object that is commonly used within JavaScript. This will help us to get the full year. You can see, and this is a function, we need to call it, and this is going to print us the full year. Now we can always return the current year, the year we are in, then minus the year it was made in by using this dot year. We shall explain later on what this does. So now if we come back and we try to console our car and then call the function calculate age, we can obviously see now the age of the car. So you can see it's been there for 4 years ever since it was made. I hope you can obviously see that it was made in 2020 and we are now in 2024, then that's 4 years. Now let us continue with this keyword. Before we wrap up, let's quickly talk about this keyword because you will see it used a lot inside methods. In JavaScript, the this keyword refers to the object that is currently calling the method. It allows us to access the properties and methods of that particular object inside its own method. Let's take a look at how we used it in this example. Inside the calculate method in the car object, we used this keyword. Here, this year refers to the year property of the car object. When we call car.calculate age, this keyword points to the car object so that this year will actually grab our year. It is literally the same as saying car.year, even though we can't do it within inside our object. Therefore, we need to use this .year instead of using car.year. But why do we need this keyword? Think of this as a way for the method to know which object it belongs to. Without it, JavaScript wouldn't know that you're talking about the property of the current object. To understand this more, let us finish with some practical examples. So let us take an example of a product. So you already know product has different properties. It has a name. Let us say this name is going to be the laptop. It can have a price, which is 1,500. It can have a discount of 0.1, that is 10%. And it can also have a calculate final price. And this is going to be a function that will help us to calculate our final price. And now we can maybe say constant discount amount is equal to this. Again, we're using this to refer to this property. We can it's like saying property dot price, but we can't do this inside an object itself. Therefore, we need to use this. And then we should multiply it with this dot discount. Then after that, we should return this dot price minus the discount amount. So if we console.log the calculate final price, since it's a function, therefore we need to call it always, then we can see that we have an error and it is saying calculate final price is not defined. The reason is because we try to access the method straight away instead of using it as a property of product. Therefore, we need to do product.calculate. You can see now we'll get our final price. Our final price will be this 1,500 minus the discounted amount. So let us also explore another practical example of a person object. By this time around, we will include a full name property that dynamically combines the first and last name. Additionally, when we log the entire person object, we should be able to also see the full name displayed as part of it. So this is our basic example of a person object. You can see we have a first name, last name, age, email, and also a function that will actually combine the first name and the last name. We use the this keyword so that we can access the first name within this object. So now, in order to access our full name within the object itself, we need to use a getter. So using a getter will help us now grab our full name and be able to display it within the object itself. So this is how we use the getter property. So we use the get keyword and then we put that the property we want. It is going also to be a method. Then we can inside access or return our combined first name and last name by using this dot first name and then putting there a space and using this dot last name. So now what is this going to do? It is actually going to grab our full name and be able to show it within our person object. So now if we try, we can, the reason why we have this method here, we can access a name by just consoling a full name by just consoling its the get by consoling the get full name function called. So for example, let us now start from where we began. We can access properties, individual properties, by just doing person.first name. You can obviously see this will have John. We can also as well get the full name by just consoling person.getFullName. Since it is a function, therefore we need to call it. You can obviously see that it printed the full name. We can also access the full name within the object itself by consoling the whole object. Remember, we can do so, or we can get the full name within the object by using the getter keyword or the getter method. Therefore, using this getter will help us now be able to show our full name within the object itself. You can obviously see that we have a full name here. If we click on this, we shall see that our full name was now added to the object. So to make sure that you understand correctly the getter property, a getter property is a keyword, or it is a method that allows you to access the full name as if it were a regular property without needing to call the method getFullName itself. So this is how you can access the full name within the person object. So this wraps up our crash course on JavaScript objects, property, and methods. So objects are a core part of JavaScript and form the foundation for more advanced topics like working with real-world data, building complex applications, and much more. Be sure to practice creating and working with objects, adding properties and methods, and using the this keyword correctly. Understand how this works in different contexts will make Understanding how this works in different contexts will make your code more robust and prevent common bugs. Implementing getter method, like the way we did using the full name or trying to get the full name, can make your objects more dynamic and your code cleaner. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it to anyone who is learning JavaScript. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.